Good afternoon. It's the 23rd of June and this is my trade recap for the day. It's an earlier one because I'm camping later, so in fact I'm going camping in about 45 minutes, so this will be a very quick brief review of my trading today. So I'm looking at the MES chart on the 5 minute. My first trade of the day was actually in the pre-market, and with some orders I had in place was just here at 43.88 area. It's just a very small single contract, and the reason for that area was because if we go on to the, here we go, we're on the 5 minute chart, but you can see it's an area of we had a bit of resistance and support around that area, and a few pivots pulled back to this area as well. And so I put it in on that date, on the 14th of June was when I put my that zone in. I've had it in ever since, and today it come into play. And that's the idea, and that's why it's quite good sometimes to leave your drawn zones in, even old ones, because look at that, it was perfectly played today. So we had today's low of the day was the bottom of that zone, and that zone was just a pivot going back almost 2-3 weeks. So anyway, my first trade was at 43.88 area, 43.88, 43.86 it was. I need to zoom in to find out for sure. And the reason for that is I left an order in there to trigger me in. I did it about 2-3 hours before I even did my trade plan, and it triggered me in as I was talking on my trade plan. So I got in, and it was a nice double bottom as well, so that gave me confirmation, so I held on to it a bit longer, and I used my trend line as an out, so that's where I got out. However, there was one little issue because I wanted to add before that out, so I waited. So I saw this candle, I saw this candle didn't break the low, so I had another add position there, and I only wanted to add once. I accidentally added two, so I was in a bit heavy on this. So I got out of a quarter of my contract there, and the rest stopped me out of break even back down here. Because I added slightly higher as well, I brought my my break even back up. So that was my first trade of the day, and it was a little tiny bit of profit, but it was nice to start off, and it was pre-market, so I don't really want to go in too heavy on pre-market. My first trade of the day was as the market opened, and it was the bottom of this zone, because I didn't want to layer in on this one because I'd already taken it in the pre-market, and you know, I like to believe that you take the first touch of an area, or the first touch of the zone, or the first touch of a moving average or a VWAP, and then that would be on a normal trading time, that would be a full position maybe. But if it's a second touch, you want to do a quarter of a position, a third touch, a tenth of a position, knowing that is less likely to play out. So I went in for two contracts just here, and I took a bit of profit on the trend line again, and it's still holding this trend line. Let me zoom out and show you the trend line on the 60 minute. So this trend line was drawn from the pivot high on the 16th of June, and it was linked to, it's the same pivot I put in on the 21st of June, so that's been in place, this trend line, for a few days. And as you can see, yesterday it pulled below it. I was expecting it to touch this pivot maybe and create another bounce back down, but it broke through the trend line, and overnight the market sold off and it retested this pivot. Look at that, right on the trend line, it retested it. Can't get any closer than that, and it looked like it was going to go back up again, but then obviously we saw this consolidation and this big sell off on the open. So back to the 5 minute chart. I took one more trade, and that was this bottom here. So I got in on this candle, the second candle there, that one. So I saw this pivot, I saw it come back up, pull back down to this area, so I went long, and it was long, two contracts only. I took profit on the trend line again, and I had one contract left, and my out was just on the VWAP. And the reason for that, I'm going to zoom out of this chart, was because we were coming into this area of resistance in the pre-market, which it held it for some time, and we also had this pivot here. We also had the VWAP, we had the 20 moving average, the 50 moving average as well, and there was more reasons for me to get out of the market than to stay in. So my out was there, and it did break through, and I thought maybe I should have held it a bit longer, and I only had one runner because I only had 2 contracts of MES. So I thought, damn, I should have left it, but then it pulled right back, and that just proves, you know, sticking to your plan, sticking to your areas actually pays off, because that probably would have come down and it would have got very close to stopping me out. I think I got in around about there, so I probably would have been stopped out on that runner, very close to being stopped out. But in the end, I took profit at the right place. Maybe if I was around, I was getting some camping stuff ready, but maybe if I was around, I may have taken another starter position, 1 or 2 contracts again here for 43.86, but then this is setting up what looks like to be a nice double bottom, and it's broken through this neckline of the double bottom, and if it breaks through this area, we might see a nice pull up today. So if I was around to the end of the day, what would I take? I would be watching this area here for a higher risk rejection scalp, and if the market don't forget we've got the 200 here as well, and we've got a bit of resistance coming from over here as well, so I think that would be a nice rejection area. And have we got anything above it? Well, the next obvious area is possibly 44.25, so this area could be a bit of a rejection, this area here, and then 44.38, 44.40, and that will be, if I was around today playing the market, which I won't be, that would be a full position rejection for me, and this might be a half a position and then waiting for the pullback, so looking for the pullback back into that area for a move back down again. Anyway, that's my day. One last thing, today in the post, this arrived, my journal. It's exciting, actually a physical copy of my journal, and I'm not sure if I'd use it now, because before I got this printed, and I actually went out and bought a Remarkable, and my journal is actually in digital format, but I probably will use it to jot notes during the day, because sometimes it's a bit easier just to open up the page. But it's a full 1 year's worth of notes of journals, and at the back I even added lots of blank pages for writing your notes and putting in your strategies, and then like an end of year review, like goals, final thoughts, strategies, goal reviews, yearly performance, best and worst trades. Quite nice. And then I think that's it. Oh yeah, and then annual performance review. So I kind of made it so that you get one of these. My idea was to get this printed out with my local printers, and they were quoting me like £300-400 just to get one of these printed. And for the same amount of money, for less money, I went out and got the Remarkable 2. But someone suggested trying Amazon publishing, so I did. And I spent a bit of while jigging the pages to fit the size, but I published it directly through Amazon, and good quality, not bad. I've got a hardback copy coming as well, see what that looks like, but it's quite good. And had I thought about it, I would have probably kept with this instead of the Remarkable 2. But my Remarkable 2 I use for a lot more than journaling now. I use it for everything. It's great. Anyway, I've got to go. Have a lovely day trading. Hopefully you have a good green day, and I will speak to most of you Monday. Have a good one.